What's up, y'all? I'm back for another video today. Sorry I didn't do my Starship Troopers video. Watching Indiana Jones 5 kind of took a lot out of me. And plus, I felt like it was more important to talk about this. So, Candyman, I'm still doing. I'm going to push that to Sunday now. I'm actually going to probably, after this video, put it on. Um, so I'm still going to be doing that this week. And then starting next week, for the rest of the Candyman movies, they'll be on Friday. I promise. It was just because this came out and it went up on the site pretty fucking quick, and I figured it'd make more sense to watch it now, pull the band-aid off, watch it now, and then just talk about it today. So, man, Indy 5, Dial of Destiny or whatever. This didn't need to be made. I've never really made my feelings true on like Indy. I mean, I've said like I like the Indiana Jones movies, like the original three, but it never hooked me like that. It never was my franchise, like for a lot of people. Like how I look at like Jurassic Park, how a lot of people look at Indy. I respect that. Indy just didn't capture me like that. It's ironic because I love Spielberg and Lucas, especially at the time when I found these movies. The music's great. I think he's just a great character. He's a great character. It's just it never hooked me like that. Not at least not until like a deep like how I really wanted to get into the lore and shit. That like in that sense. But I love the movies. So when Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came, I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it later. And at the time, I didn't hate it. And it's more because, like I said, I wasn't as into the franchise. I understood why people don't like it. And definitely by now, I get it, why people don't like it. But that looks like Shakespeare compared to this. This didn't even need to be made. This is a case, you didn't fucking need to make this movie. No one wants to see old ass Indiana Jones. I respect Indiana Jones, but he doesn't work because he does a lot of physical shit. And an older Indy just doesn't work. I've seen people try to like suggest maybe a Logan that could work theoretically. Personally, I was thinking about this yesterday while we were watching the movie. I was thinking about this yesterday. Fucking, I don't even like the '60s setting for Indy. I think Indy should be in that like 1940s, max maybe 50s, like early 50s, like 51, 50, 51, like kind of around there. But it should be in the 40s mainly though. Like I just think that aesthetic works better for the character. Doing it in the 60s didn't work. Phoebe Waller-Bridges' character did not fucking work. Helena, she was just fucking annoying, and it could be a case if it was a different actress, maybe it could work. So I think the idea of a goddaughter inherently doesn't piss me off. Granted, it is a little like how, and I guess in this, his friend Basil has a daughter, and that's how they explain it. I'll admit, only positive, that opening scene was decent. Wouldn't call it amazing, and I probably don't think it's not that good. I want to go back and watch that, even the opening scene, like on a video. But, um, I just think it was so disappointing, like what they were doing with the character. Like even as from a casual like perspective, I just like he's just being strung along. Harrison just doesn't. It doesn't even feel like he's Indy in this. Like I was thinking, like I was pretty much saying that after I watched it. I was like, he's not Indy. He felt like kind of like how he was in fucking episode 7, where he was Harrison Ford in a Han Solo costume. It's the same thing here. He was basically Harrison Ford. There's literally a scene where it's not "Get Off My Lawn," but I guess one of his neighbors or whatever was playing like loud music in the morning, and he like fucking knocked all angrily. And it's basically to get off my lawn kind of thing, but not exactly in those words. But it's like I don't fucking want to. I don't need to see this movie. I just this didn't need to exist. Let's break him and Marion up. Like the one thing, at least even people who don't necessarily like in Crystal Skull even say him being with Marion and at least was a happy ending. No, you can never have a happy ending. It always has to be them broken up, and then just to have a scene late in the end of the movie, which I'll admit was good, but it's like clearly you just did that just so you can have that. Why break them up? You could have had an opening scene with them. No, he has to live in some shitty apartment by himself and he's like a professor, and his kids don't care. Helena's the only one, and then yeah, this is where we find out he's his goddaughter, and they're talking about the Dial of Destiny, which essentially is a time machine. That's all it really is. It's just a fancy time machine, and it's what I expected. It's going to be a MacGuffin. It wasn't like it mattered compared to the Ark of the Covenant. That actually fucking mattered, and it had a purpose in the movies. It wasn't just there to be this thing that the bad guys and the good guys want to get. That's all the fucking Dial of Destiny was. They don't even really go into what it is. I mean, the idea you get it is like it's a time machine, so basically, and it just is not compelling. Then we get the reveal that Helena wants it so she could sell it, and she's a shitty character. It'd be one thing because there's an idea later on where she toys with joining Voller, who's the real villain. He wants it because basically he wants to restore Nazi power. Essentially, that's what he wants to do. He wants to go back and, I guess, kind of like what Savage did in the Justice League, but way better, and kind of change history and have the Nazis win because he knows what happened in the future, kind of thing. When I just think that's weak. Like, I get it. Nazis are always been a thing in these movies, so that's not it's not inherently my problem. My problem is more. Mads Mikkelsen's a good actor, but I felt like in this, I thought initially he was decent, but he really, the more I thought about it, he kind of was. I saw a comment, like, because I was watching a lot of people, like, talk about the movie. They felt like he was phoning it in, and I kind of agree. He didn't really feel like he was way better in Rogue One, and I don't love that movie, but he was better in that. In this, he was just there, and you could have given him a more personal reason why he wants to go. No, he just wants to restore Nazi power for reasons. They don't even give you a real reason why. He wants to do it because I was Nazi, so I wanted, like, you could have done something more interesting than no. The villains are a joke, really. And I'm sorry, it is not believable seeing 80-year-old Indiana Jones, like, punching out trained dudes who are, like, apparently they're, like, undercover, like, well, they're bad guys, but they're, like, trained soldiers, and he's just, like, punching them out, like, multiple times in the movie. He's just, like, fucking punching them out. I mean, yeah, there's moments where Helena does, and it's as unbelievable, but I would say it's the same with Indy. Fucking old-ass Indy punching out these fucking trained dudes who should know how to take down an old... I'm sorry, no disrespect, but come on. And Indy in general has never been the best fighter. He kind of is more of just a brawler. So, these trained guys are like, come on. It was bad. It doesn't feel like an adventure. Like, even Crystal Skull at moments, besides some of the cringe, it still felt like an adventure. There was an adventure there, or at least an adventure you cared about. This one, you just don't. I didn't even fucking know, but someone had to point it out. Antonio Banderas is in this movie. His friend Ronaldo, I guess that's Antonio Banderas. So you have Antonio Banderas, really good fucking actor, and do nothing with him. He gives Indy a boat, and then, basically, Voller and his people find them, and Voller kills them. That's it. So you just have Antonio Banderas in a fucking movie, and you just do nothing with him. So I actually think Antonio Banderas in an Indy movie is kind of interesting, but you don't do shit with him. You don't even really have any scenes with him and Indy together. Granted, it's not fucking Indy. This is basically just Harrison Ford, just in Indy costume. It's so disappointing. The villains just conveniently have to find that there's a kid that Helena goes with. Basically, it's like, I don't know if they're trying to go for like a short round vibe, and it just didn't work. This kid was annoying as shit. I was hoping when Voller people found him, he's just gonna kill him, but they're not gonna do that. But the final act isn't even. It's all over the place. You could tell this movie, like, because how long it took to make. There's like a million ideas in it. There's a part where they go in the boat and they go underwater. There's a part because there's I think it's a book where Indy goes to Atlantis, which a lot of people consider that's Indiana Jones 4. Why didn't you just do that? Even if granted, I wouldn't love if they botched it, but at least that is a more interesting story than this stupid dial shit. This is what makes it worse. Is there's an they literally go underwater. When I was watching that scene, I was thinking like, why did you just the Atlanta story? And maybe this is at the point of the script. Maybe they were considering it, but whatever reason they scrapped it. It's just, and I'm gonna title this video "Weekend at Indy's" because it feels like if you remember the movie Weekend at Bernie's, where this guy's corpse is basically being strung around. That's what it felt like with Indy. Even though Indy isn't dead, it it's like a living corpse. I know doesn't make any sense, but just like he literally feels like that. He just this his corpse is just being strung around in the whole movie. It doesn't feel like Indy. There's no soul to it. Even the music. Love John Williams. I'm not gonna say the music was bad, but it felt like kind of just a watered down version of the original music. There's always tweaks. Like it's ironic because John Williams, I don't know if he did the music for the new Jurassic World movies. I know those were different composers, but I think if he had helped, even those tweaks were way better than this. At least there was some soul in them. This just love John Williams, but the score in this just didn't do it for me. It felt very like, oh, this is just a really bad, not bad because I'm not gonna say because that's John Williams. Respect to John Williams, but it's not as strong of the classic Indy theme. You would have been better off just reusing the original song in the movie and not composing any new music because just it didn't stand out. It's sad. It's like it's sad just seeing John Williams' music go to fucking nothing because it's all for just this shitty soulless movie. This is another example. I think this movie's soulless. Not as soulless as Little Mermaid, but it is up there. If you're an Indy fan, I'm gonna advise you strongly. Do not watch this. Even like on the seas, it's not worth it. It's a waste of 2.5 hours. You're watching Indy. It's not even Indy. It's Harrison Ford. Like there's a difference. Like when even in Crystal Skull, he was Indy. He wasn't just this is just Harrison Ford. In this, that's all I'm getting. He just feels like Harrison Ford. Every line he delivers, it just feels like it's just Harrison Ford. It's not Indiana Jones, and it's just. You're just watching this character be dragged around by this unlikable woman. And it's not because she's a woman. She's just shit. She's a shitty character. You could easily, if they just recast her, maybe someone like an Anya Taylor-Joy. I saw someone suggest Haley Seinfeld. She's likable. I was thinking Emilia Clarke. She'd even be fine. There's more likable women you could have used. She is just not likable at all. Like, she's just a know-it-all, but not in a good way. Like, there's a way to do a know-it-all character and still be, like, likable. She's just annoying, and they try to tease, she's going on her own. I don't give a fuck. You know they're not going to follow up with this character. Why even create her? I've seen a lot of people just suggest you should have did Short Round. Because actor for Short Round, he's on, like, a big resurgence right now. Especially with, what happened with Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Which I'm going to eventually watch, and I will review for this channel. It will happen at some point. I'll review it and watch it. But it's like, why don't you just use him? Or just, I would have been fine if you want to do the whole goddaughter thing, but get someone likable. Like, fuck, she's just not likable. And you're just told you have to like this character. And just seeing Indy just being strewn around, I didn't like it. It felt like even though he's not dead, it was like a corpse just being strewn. That's why I'm going to call it Weekend at Bernie's. It really felt like Weekend at Bernie's, but not a good version. So anyway, we'll get into the story. Tomorrow, I'm going to do that movie Stieg recommended me, that D&D. It's like a mockumentary. I'll review that tomorrow. And then Sunday, we'll be doing Candyman. So I'll actually be talking about two good movies. So, get my mind off this dog shit. I'm never watching this again. I don't hate Crystal Skull now, but I'm probably just going to stick with the main three. Because I think Last Crusade ends it perfectly. So, it's like T2. I don't hate a lot. Some of the Terminator, some of the Terminator sequels, I hate a lot of them. But I didn't hate a few of them. But to me, canon-wise, I think T1 and T2 are just perfect. It's the same thing here. Last Crusade ends it. I didn't really need another. I didn't really need Crystal Skull, to be honest. Granted, I'll give Crystal Skull his happy ending, but what bothers me with this ending in this one, why the fuck you break them up then, just so you can have them them getting back together, and then just fucking have them together? It's this weird Hollywood. Granted, Hollywood's always kind of done that shit, where we gotta break them up just to get them back together. But like, why? Especially at that point, I felt like by the point of the fourth film, even like, why break them up? Why not her be as Rock? If fucking hell, Hollywood. No, you just have to just be shitty. And I will say this, and this is me personally. I don't think this is as bad as Luke, or I even say Han. Han was done worse. Han was done way dirtier than Indy. But I can understand if you're like really love these movies. I will not disagree with you say Indy was done worse because it was pretty bad. It was like even like when he cracked the whip, it wasn't fun. The scene where they, he goes to the the auction and he's like using the whip, it just was cringy to me. It felt like member berries bullshit. It didn't feel like it was just done for legit reasons. Like the music, and I didn't have a problem. It's just this doesn't need to exist. This is the perfect example of a film you didn't need. You're just doing because I don't know what I don't know what do they just want to keep the indie IP. This is their last ditch attempt with Lucasfilm because Lucasfilm basically fucked literally everything. Star Wars, Willow, now this. Yeah, it's sad. Anyway, maybe either this week or the week after, I'm gonna review the original Indiana Jones movies. I might as well, since I fucking watched this atrocity, we'll watch the good ones. Even Crystal Skull. I was initially gonna maybe just do the original three, but I'm like, if we're gonna, I'm already doing this dog shit. Want to make sense to just do the fourth one. So anyway, so I guess since we'll just might as well do the franchise, even though the franchise to me is three. Anyway, out of 10, maybe like a 4. It's not as bad as The Flash. And that's partially because I'm more of a DC fan. But it's almost as bad as Little Mermaid, though. I will say that. It's weird, because, yeah, like, the more I think about it, just the disrespect to the character, Indy they really try to make it seem like she's just a better Indy than him. It's another case of, like, oh, let's just constantly make pop up the new character and shit on the old one. I'm so tired of that. Like, just fucking do Cobra Kai. That's how you do it. Just have if you want to bring up new characters, that's how you fucking do it. Do it like Creed, you know? It's so frustrating. Like, we're just seeing the same cycle. We gotta always make the new character look good and just, oh, she's smarter than him. She knows more than him. She even fucking punches him out. And you could try to argue, oh, she was trying to save him. But I'm like, no, dude, that's just cringe. No, because you wanted to write her punching out Indy. So you try to do it in a way where you can make it make sense. But that was inherently the idea. It wasn't done out of a legit reason. They clearly did it just because so she could punch out Indy. At least that was like the original idea, and it's so fucking sad because this is just another example of them bringing out a franchise and just ruining it. So I feel bad for indie fans. I mean, it happened with Halloween for me, with Ends and Scream 5 last year. So it's just unfortunate. It's like there's like a Grim Reaper and all, just taking all these franchises and them going to shit. Dominion, which I'll admit is not as I'll watch Dominion a million times before I watch this again. But yeah, like I said, there was no sense of adventure. That's like the biggest problem. Like even like the big chase scenes and all that, it didn't get anything from me. It's just like, oh, this is just shit happening on a screen. And I didn't get anything out of it. It didn't do anything for me. Like even some of the action scenes, obviously not like not the fridge scene. Not talking about that one, but some of the like just the regular action sequences in Crystal Skull were way better than this. At least it got something out of me. This was just, oh, okay, this shit happening now. I'll admit, that opening 15 minutes wasn't bad. This is probably one of the better, like, deep fakes or de-aging, like, I'll admit, this is probably the second best de-age. I think, as ironic, I fucking despise this movie, but Dark Fate, take out what they did. The de-aging for Arnold, Sarah Connor, and John was great. They looked like they were right out of T2, and it looked good. So I think that's probably the best de-aging, even though I fucking hate that movie. And there's another one where I think the de-aging in this looked really good. Like, it looked like Harris in every scene. It didn't look awkward. It wasn't like fucking Leia and fucking Rogue One. Like, this actually looked good. So I'll give him that, but it was only like 20 minutes, and then the rest of the and I was like, I knew it. Like the moment we get out of this opening 20 minutes, it's gonna go to shit, and that was pretty much right. So 4 out of 10. I wanted like even just to find something like people like to think I go into these movies hating it. Well, some cases I'll be honest. There are some times where I'll flat out say I am going in hating it. The Flash, I admitted that with that one. Same with Little Mermaid, I admitted that with that one. There are certain ones I will admit I want them. Going in, but you know what? Another example, Scream 6. I kind of did going in hating it. I don't hate it. I have some issues with it. Especially, I'm not gonna go into that. I already talked about that in the video, but so I can find decent shit and even shit I don't like, but there's nothing in this. Like that opening scene is all I got. Like that's probably the only scene where I'm like, okay, that got something out of me. And I'm not even gonna give it the ending scene because that's just they clearly did that. Just they broke them up just to get to that scene when it's like, then why not? Why'd you break them up in the first place? It's like you could have just had them together. You didn't need to break them up just to do that scene. Yeah, this movie isn't good. Yeah, like I said, if you're an Indy fan, do not watch it. Your soul's gonna die. I mean, my soul kind of died, and I'm not as big an Indy. So I can only imagine if you're a fucking fan of the franchise like that. Like this is your franchise. Yeah, your soul will die. So do not watch it. Even like on online, there's no point. You're wasting your time. It's a waste of 2.5 hours almost. You would just be watching shit on a screen and then just sitting there because that's what I did. So anyway, finally I'll get started on the review. I just kind of wanted to vent a little bit up. I don't think it was a little bit, but I just had to get that off my chest because this movie was just sad. Like there was no soul obviously even going into the script. You should just been better off doing, if you're gonna do another one, just do Atlantis. But no one wants to see older Indy though. Like I think you kind of got away with it in 4. You can't get away with it in 2023. It's just not gonna work. It's weird because I know a lot of people don't like this movie, but Blade Runner 2049. That's the only time where Harrison Ford came back to a role, and it didn't just feel like he was Harrison Ford. He actually felt like Deckard in that movie. I know some people do not like that movie. I'm not gonna blame you. I love it personally, but I understand why people do not like it. I just, even on principle, some people just don't like the idea of a Blade Runner too. So, but at least in that, Harrison Ford wasn't just Harrison Ford. He actually felt like Deckard. He was a character in that. In this, and fucking Star Wars, he was just Harrison Ford as that character in the costume, and not actually the character himself. And it's the fucked up thing with this. So, anyway, let's get into the review. So the movie opened. Indy and Basil get captured, or I'm trying to think. Is it Basil? Because when I think Basil, I think fucking Austin Powers. That's why I was. They both get captured. Indy goes undercover, punches out some Nazis, so he puts on the costume to blend in. And like I said, the CGI looked really good for this scene. I can't front. The CGI looked really good. The de-aging. But yeah, it was kind of cool seeing him do stuff there. But the only problem I had was the voice. It still sounded like Harrison Ford now. The de-aging, I don't know if it, like, with the voice, if it's fully there, we can make someone sound like they did fully. Like he did back, let's say, in 1981 when Raiders came out. So it's like, I don't know if it's fully there yet. So maybe that's why, because it just sounded like Harrison Ford now. Maybe they try to make it sound younger, but it didn't work. Because I just heard get off my plane. I was just ready. I was waiting for him just to say that. You know what? Fuck it. Bring that back. Do another fucking Air Force One. Fuck it. I'm open to it. They mentioned it on F&T doing another one. I'm open to it now. Fuck it. Might as well. Harrison Ford's bringing all his other shit back. So anyway, so yeah, he saves Basil. While this happens is where we meet Voller, who wants the spear, and he finds out it's a fake, or Indy finds out it's a fake. They find the dial, or half of the dial. We get a big action sequence. Voller gets knocked out. You think he's dead, but he's not dead, kind of thing. So, but Indy and um, Indy and Basil escape into the water, and this is where we go time jump. And my God, this opening sequence is so pathetic. He has divorce papers. He's like all fucking old man nude. It's like I didn't need to see that. He's all not nude, but he has like his shirt off, and it's just pathetic looking old man kind of thing. Like, why do we always have to do broken down characters now? Like, that's another trope that needs to fucking die, or at least be put on pause. Because inherently, I'm not against a broken down character done right. I mean, they did it right in Logan, but I just think it's getting so burnt out now. Like, where it's just, we gotta constantly break down a character, put them at their worst point in their life. He's divorced, lives in a shitty apartment. A lot of his students don't take him seriously as a teacher, because that's what we get when he gets to the school or the university, and they don't fucking treat him seriously at all. Like, besides, this is where we meet Helena. It just, I think Phoebe, a lot of us can joke about her looks and whatever, but my main one more issue, besides her being unlikable, is I don't think she's charismatic. There's no charismatic or nothing there. She just, anytime she said a line, it just, especially when it's clearly her character's supposed to be charismatic, and it just doesn't work. I think maybe with a different actress, this character could work. Like Anya Taylor-Joy, Haley Steinfeld, like a million other women actresses out there you could have used. I just think she just doesn't have it. And Hollywood's really trying to make her happen, and it just doesn't work. She's not compelling at all. You just don't care every time she's on screen. So yeah, she follows Indy to a bar, and I guess there's some lady following her. Turns out she's FBI, I think, who's also working with Voller. So we find out Voller still alive, looking for the dial, and it's just like Mads. I such a good actor. I didn't see Hannibal, so I've heard that he's really good in that too. I don't think in this he feels phoned in. I don't feel like his rivalry with Indy was personal at all. It's just like, who the fuck are you? Why do I care why you have beef with Indy? It just doesn't work. There should have been something more personal with him and Indy. Like, maybe you know what? Basil should have died. I think if you wanted to rework it, that's actually one thing you rework right there. You have fucking Voller kill him. So now Indy has a personal reason. It's just like, this is so basic. There's no personal thing with him. He just has to stop him because he's the bad guy and the script calls for it. Not for a legit reason. Like, and it's just, Voller's not captivating because they don't give you anything more with him. He's just, I want to restore the Nazis, basically, and try to right the wrong of them losing. So it's just generic bad guy, just plot. It's like you could have went something more interesting. Oh, let me see something. Just need to see, still recording. But like he needed something more, and so Indy, they go to like some like museum or library or whatever the fuck, and they find info about the dial, and it's just, the info is not that interesting though. So it's not even, so there is info there, but it still just feels like a MacGuffin. It's just a thing. Good guys need it, and then the bad guys want it. That's it. That's a thing they need. Like, even Crystal Skull was a better MacGuffin. Ark of the Covenant wasn't a MacGuffin at all, in my opinion. It actually had a purpose, and you got the story of why. And why it's important to both sides, not just, this is a thing that both sides need. And that's all I got. So, Voller's people work alongside the FBI lady. We get a big chase scene. Because it turns out Helena wants the dial for herself so she could sell it. And for whatever reason, we're supposed to think that's likable. Like, and I'm gonna get to it in like when we get to the part where they get into where they search for it in the ocean. Like, if she had turned bad, because I'm gonna get to that in a second. I'll just mention it. There's a part where she later in the movie. So I'm jumping ahead a wee bit. They search for like the other half underwater. Was where Indy's working with Ronaldo on his boat, and Voller and his people arrive, and she makes a deal with them. Granted, I knew it was a fucking trap. It was so predictable. If she actually joined them, that'd actually been interesting. Maybe she initially was like trying to do it the right way, but she's like, you know what? She's more about fame, and it's like if you had made her a villain, but no, you can't have a bad one. So no, we have to make that likable. Like I said, there are characters that are assholes or with women bitches that are still likable, but she's not that. She's just straight up unlikable, and you don't care for what she's trying to do. So yeah, we get this chase scene in like a carnival because there's like a big parade going in the city, like Americans, like a 4th of July kind of thing. And I'll admit, the idea of a chase through like a parade isn't the bad part. I actually think that's a good idea. I just think it's in a bad movie. And I just isn't it. Even Indy riding on a horse, that could be fun in a better fucking movie. So yeah, he gets away. Then he goes to turns out Basil's still alive. It would have been better if he died. If Voller killed him, you would have anyway. So he gets the other half, then goes to I don't remember where they go. Somewhere in the Middle East, I think. Because I'll admit I didn't watch this in the theater. So the subtitles are not in English. So he ends up finding the secret auction where she's auctioning it off. And there's a scene where like she's on the airplane and you get her like backstory. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. It's like the movie didn't make me want to care for her. It's yeah, you could say, oh, you already just didn't like her. Okay, yeah, true. But the movie still has a job. I didn't like some of the characters in Scream 6 and Scream 5. I'll be honest. Sam and Tara specifically, I'll be honest. I didn't really care for them in Scream 5. And I didn't love the movie, but Scream 6, I liked them way more, especially Sam. Oh, Tara, sorry. That's Jenna Ortega's character. She was way better than that. And I didn't necessarily love the previous one. So you can give me something decent. I'm not hard to please at all. Like, fucking like Godzilla 98. Love Jason X. I'm not hard to please. I even have fun with Leprechaun in the Hood. I'm not fucking hard to please. Like, I'm not. But Hollywood just continues to give me this shit, and I'm not gonna say it's good just because. Oh, it's Indy. But that's what, unfortunately, these fuckers expect. They expect, like, oh, guys, it's Indiana Jones, so aren't you happy? No, we want a good story. Same with Jurassic Park. I'm not going to just be happy because there's a T-Rex on screen. Maybe there would have been a time I would have been, but not anymore. I need a good story now. It's cool seeing a T-Rex, but that doesn't mean the movie's good. Anyway. So, yeah, this scene is supposed to be, like, in a better written movie, this could have been a funny sequence, like, where he's trying to, like, get the dial from the, like, out of the auction, and maybe he even starts, like, doing his own auction, even if he didn't have the money. So Voller arrives, big mess ensues. There's a scene where he's supposed to he brings out the whip, right? And it's supposed to clearly get that nostalgia. It just didn't work. It just felt cringe to me. It was like Batman in The Flash saying, I'm Batman, or let's get nuts. Like, just saying the lines from the movie just doesn't mean it's good. It just feels forced, and it's that in this. So yeah, we get a chase, and this chase wasn't that good. Turns out, I guess, Helena has, like, a boyfriend you don't even care for. He's like some, I don't know, I'm gonna say, like, drug lord. It's what he felt like to me, like a drug lord guy or some gangster. And he wants her, so he chases her. We get a big chasing where they're trying to get Voller because he stole the dial in the melee when everything was going down. There's a point where, because Indy gets stuck, she ditches him, with her little, like, I guess he's like, like a little kid sidekick kind of thing. And I didn't even learn his name, to be honest. I really didn't. It was like they were clearly trying to do like a short round thing, and you could have been done with if you just had short round in this movie. Short round had a kid of his own. You know what? Fuck it. So he has you have a little mini short round. It's so frustrating. Like, this is not hard. This is not rocket science, man. This is like, just get. Granted, I just think with Indy personally, I didn't need another one. Indy's like the 1-3 really works. Like, fine, Crystal Skull existing, it's like a what if there was a fourth one kind of thing. But I don't look at it as fully canon. I just think it should have stopped there. Because at least there, Harrison Ford didn't look too old. Like, the action scenes where he's just punching these trained guys out, it's just not believable to me. At least with Batman, his suit kind of can help him at times. You can even just argue that at least. And also I question that with Keaton, but at least with Batman, I can see an argument where, at least the suit to an extent can help him. And it is Batman. So I do think there is a bit of a difference between Batman and Indiana Jones. Sorry, I just do. So they reconvene. This is where we meet Ronaldo. That's Antonio Banderas. He just doesn't do anything. He just says Indy when they first sees him, and then just nothing really. Like, it didn't even really feel like they had chemistry when they're on the boat. Granted, I just feel like Harrison in general didn't feel like he had chemistry with anybody. Like, literally anybody. Like, closest maybe with Voller, and that's because Matt Mikkelsen at least tried. Granted, I didn't fully think it was great, but it seemed like he somewhat tried, even if he phoned it in a little bit. I feel like he phoned it in, but he still simultaneously phoned it in and somewhat tried. Because at least there was something there with it, because I do think he's a good enough actor to at least he could get something out of Harrison, but everyone else, he had no chemistry with, man. It just, every scene was dick. And then fucking Antonio Banderas. Granted, I do think it is the movie's fault too for let's not have him in more scenes. You introduce him like in the middle of the film, and then so they go underwater, and I think they find like the other half of the dial. And when they resurface, Bowler and his people just somehow knew they were there. Like, I get it. You gotta have the point where the villain gets the fucking like Thanos getting the stones, right? The bad guys getting the thing. But in this, it just felt like random, because there's a scene later, where they go to like in like a middle of a town, and the kid goes on his own, and then Voller's people find the kid. It's like, how? Like, how? Like, it's just because plot said so. It's just, there's no build up, there's no anticipation. Like, there was a sense of a chase when Indy and the villain were trying to get like the Ark, right? You didn't get that in this movie. There was none of that. You didn't give a fuck about the chase. You didn't really give a fuck about the dial. And the name is stupid anyway. The Dial of Destiny. And there's no point. Why is even Crystal Skull, there was a point to the title. Last Crusade. I mean, Temple of Doom. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Those are all... The title is a point of the story. This is just in general my problem with titles nowadays. They don't even sometimes they don't even have a point. They're just, this sounds cool, but there's no actual tie to the story. Like, those other 4 films, whatever, even if you don't like the 4th one, but there was at least the title still fit the movie. There was a point to the title. It wasn't just that title. The dial, the only part of the title that I guess ties to the movie is the dial, but Destiny, what's the point of Destiny being there? There's no fucking Destiny. Neither. So stupid. Anyway. So yeah, they resurface. Voller and his people kidnap them. Force Indy to give him the dial when he shoots Ronaldo to death. So yeah, we just kill Ronaldo. You have Antonio Banderas, and you just fucking kill within like, I think it was like 30 to 40 minutes after he first appeared in the movie. 30, actually. I think it was pretty quick after he appeared. So he just gets shot. And then Phoebe to cause a distraction, or Helena, sorry, I'm just calling her by her real name. Fucking, um, Helena, basically to cause a distraction, acts like she's gonna join him, which it would have been interesting if you actually had her go bad, and that, but no, they can't do that. Because that's practically what her character was, though. But we're supposed to still believe she's a good guy. Yeah, oh, she goes back to save Indy later. It's like because the plot said so, not because it's like a genuine she did it because she had a change in character. None of that. She was pretty much the same character she was when the movie started. To be honest, there's no evolution. And I'm not always like every character needs an arc all the time. But if you're gonna have she's one of your main characters of the fucking movie, right? Then yeah, I do to an extent. Those characters should get an arc. I'm not like but anyway, it's just so fucking frustrating. So he Voller takes it, but Indy causes a distraction, and then they resurface in like some town, and while there, the boy goes on his own, gets captured by Voller and his people, and basically they're gonna use the boy because he knows like the locations. So it's not a race. It just the way they title it, it's a race against Tyson. No, it's not, dude. You don't give a fuck about this whole story. Indy is not Indy. It's just Harrison Ford in basically cosplay. Um, so they go to the temple, and even to the scene of the temple, it didn't give me any like that's cool because I always love those moments in the movie when they get in a tomb or a temple. It's just like I could love it. It's just none of that. It was in this. It just was like, oh, okay. Then yeah, they get separated. Indy ends up getting captured. So now they have to say fucking Indy because, of course. So she ends up saving Indy. This is where Voller, like before that, reveals to Indy his plan of basically gonna try to right the wrongs, like basically make the Nazis win. Like that's all it really was. Then they end up going into the wrong time because Phoebe follows them. This is where the thing works. They end up going into 221 BC. And so they went to the wrong time and not in 1939. And I'll admit this sequence could have been fun, but it didn't wow me. They end up basically getting shot down. This is where we see Archimedes, who's mentioned the whole movie. But he's just kind of there. He ends up finding the dial after the plane crashes. So, and you know what's fucked up? You know who ends up shooting Voller? I wouldn't say Han, not Indy. It was fucking Helena. So you have Helena shoot him. You know what? This would have worked if Voller killed her dad. That I would have been fine with that in that context. But in this movie, you're making it seem like him and Indy have a personal thing. Even there's a line where like, I should have wasted you, basically, is what Indy was saying to the Voller. So it's like, sorry about that. I was just like trying to get my words out there. It's so frustrating because it's like, it's just so simple. So you can't even have the main character shoot his own bad guy. It's so fucking stupid. So Indy tries to like stay back and basically he ends up getting shot. But then there's a point where his shot didn't really matter, but then his shot matters again. Like, it's so weird. Because he gets shot, and then it matters initially, and then there's a period where it kind of doesn't matter, but then when he gets to this point, it matters again. It's like, what the fuck? It's so weird. But anyway, she tries to convince him, he doesn't, so she punches him out. And he wakes up. So no, let's just have Indy get punched out. And they clearly just wanted to do that. Yeah, she just punches him out and he wakes up. Marion's there. She ends up basically jumping to the ending, she goes on her own, right? Um, and does basically try to set up her own adventure. Like no one's gonna. I don't think that's even gonna happen. This movie's probably not even gonna do that well. If it doesn't do well, then yeah, it's definitely not happening. It's just it's so weird. If you're gonna do, there's just a million ways you could do that. I might even do a fixing or an attempt anyway, like I did with the Flash, because I think there are some ideas there. I think if I was forced to do an Indy 5, that how I would do it, basically, kind of thing. I just think there's a million ways you could have done it better than this shit. Indy didn't even get to kill his own fucking bad guy. It just she shoots him, and yeah, you could technically say the shot didn't kill him. The plane crash killed him, because yeah, the plane crashed after that. But it's like, but essentially, it sets up that why didn't? But you could have just had Indy shoot him. It's like he didn't even get to shoot his own bad guy. It's like Batman, like somebody else beating the Joker in a Batman movie. Like if let's like have like I think in a weird sense that could maybe work in a better context. I think Batman is bigger world, but like okay, have like fucking not Superman beat Lex Luthor, like Lois beat Lex Luthor, like in a fist fight kind of thing. It's same thing there. Or she shoots him, and it makes no sense. Like the bad guy of your story should get beat up by the hero of the story. I just think on a fundamental level, unless it's like a team kind of thing where there's or even an ensemble, then okay. But this isn't that. Indy is not an ensemble franchise. It's about Indiana Jones. He should always get the final like say on the takeout of the bad guy. Same thing with like John McClane in a Die Hard movie. Let John McClane get the final kill, not somebody else. It makes sense, unless in a different context you can make it make sense. But anyway, I had it going on this movie. I wasn't even gonna watch it, but I figured for the fucking channel, and I've been suffering these bad movies anyway. Why not just suffer another one? This is gonna probably be it though. I don't like. There's fucking. I'm gonna watch Barbie, and that's just already because I already agreed to watching that shit. And we're gonna review all Oppenheimer, so it kind of makes sense. I'm not touching Blue Beetle, and I'm even saying this one definitively. I'm not. There's just no interest. I'm not that into the character anyway, and then calling Batman a fascist, just like, no, we're not doing that. So, yeah, this was bad. This was disrespectful. Like, this was really just Indy's corpse just being strung around, even though he's not dead. You might as well have just killed him, basically. It just was so sad just seeing him just being strung around, running around. Not believable him taking out guys. None of the characters are likable. The story is not interesting. You're not invested in the whole dial thing. You just don't give a fuck. It's a fucking MacGuffin. It's this thing they need. Everybody needs it, but you don't actually care about what it is. Compared to like the Infinity Stones, even though like y'all know how I feel about the MCU, but the Infinity Stones at least you're invested in. They weren't just a thing that both sides needed. So I actually went to what each stone was about. It's the same thing. It's like you got it with Ark, from Raiders. There was a point to it. It wasn't just this thing that the bad guys and the good guys needed. And you would think, like the opening 15 minutes or 20 minutes, I think it was better than this. It was fine, but if you had just made a whole movie of that, maybe it would have been better. But this wasn't. That was the only good scene. Like everything else, like I can't even. Like I said, I can't. I'm not giving props to the Marion scene in the end. There was still chemistry there, so I guess I'll give a little props for that. But it just when you broke them up just so you can have that scene. It just feels cheapened, and it doesn't work. So this whole movie doesn't work. It doesn't need to fucking exist. This to me doesn't exist after today. I had to go in on it. It's disrespectful to Indy. Like so, Indy fans, do not watch this one. There's no need. Don't even waste your time. Don't even wait till like it gets on like Disney Plus or some shit. There's no point. It's a waste. It's almost 2.5 hours. There's no need. End it at 3, or even if you like 4, just end it at 4. There's no need to touch this one. It's pointless. It's literally pointless. I thought when I was done with it, I'm like, yeah, this is fucking pointless. Why does this exist? There's like a million ideas that are just scattered throughout the film where it's like they were clearly going for something here and then they changed it. It's like, what the fuck? You released this. The music wasn't that great. Like, I love John Williams, but I can't give him pass on this music. It just wasn't good. It was, I don't know, man. It just, you would have been better off just reusing the original score from the, or even the score in the other two indie films. Better off doing that than what they did with this. Anyway, tomorrow I'm gonna be talking about this movie Steve recommended me. And then, so I'll at least be talking about something I like. Though at least we're not. So at least the next few things are going to be positives. I'm going to be reviewing Candyman on Sunday. I can't wait to do that. And then Monday will be 92. And speaking of which, Candyman's going to actually be on that list. Most likely my 92, which 92, I looked at. There's a lot of fucking heavy hitters. Army of Darkness. Number 1 is Batman Returns. Fucking Reservoir Dogs. Fucking Hellraiser 3. There's a lot in 92. The more I think about it, so it's like. So anyway, I'm gonna call it here. See y'all tomorrow for a video. Probably be sometime in like in the afternoon or in the morning. We'll see. If not tomorrow, I'll definitely do it Sunday. Oh fuck! Speaking of which, Sunday, Starship Troopers 3. I'm gonna be reviewing that too. I gotta make up for it so we can just finish these last shitty. Because I have a feeling the last two are gonna be bad. I guess I'll give quick thoughts on Starship Troopers 2 before I end it. Starship Troopers 3. Sorry, it was not horrible. It was definitely better than 2, but it's not great. And I definitely just. It was cool seeing Rico again, but none of the other characters were that compelling. CGI was horrible. I'll give them this benefit. They probably had no money. And it's weird, because this was like 2008. Same year you had fucking Iron Man. Incredible Hulk looks amazing. Even, granted, I don't know if Dark Knight had really any CGI, but like Dark Knight, same year too. Like, there's a bunch of big movies that year that look better, and it's like, wow. So, anyway, I'll talk about that later. Anyway, cheers out, and I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.